All right, Mr. MG, we are up here on the top of your roof. The front face and our left face are really our northernmost direction, with our rear and our right slopes being more in our southern facing direction. The house is kind of at an angle. And so typically when I'm on a roof, the southern facing slopes are going to be in the worst condition as they get the most direct exposure to UV. And so as the sun is just working on these things all day, they get dried out faster, and as they get dried out, they're more susceptible to fracture or bruise when impacted by an object. And so I arrived at about 12:40. The appointment time was for 12:45. The adjuster had already been up on the roof and back down. Here as his marks on the back where he's showing there's no damage. I like to highlight our box vents here. These are made of metal, and you can see there's a lot of fresh what's called spatter markings, and that gives us good indication that there's recently been impacts that have knocked the oxidation marks off of the metal. And so he did not chalk these vents. So, when we chalk this here, what we're left with when I put my flat piece of chalk over, I'm left with the areas that don't get chalked. That is from my indentations from the hail impact. Those sizes are going to be about 80% of the size of the hail that impacted it. And so those dents are anywhere from 1 to 1.5 inch in width. So we had hail at least that big or bigger here. And that's the same type of damage that I'm seeing here on the shingles. I've got round areas where it's been impacted. It's soft to the touch. The asphalt is exposed. The granules have been pressed in some areas and loosened. If we touch these areas, those granules flake off. If we tap, those granules shake loose. And so very, very dark areas, very soft centers. To me, this is textbook hail damage as defined by the Haag book, and we will include some reference photos. Here we have some general granule loss. I don't really see an impact to the shingles. I do see that we have granules that have detached, but there's no damage to the mat. This is an indicator of the roof getting hot. And so again, the south facing slope is going to be in the worst condition, but that's not what we're defining as hail damage. It's these impacts that have caused fractures, and these are now susceptible leaks. And this has definitely compromised the life of the roof, as also defined by Owens Corning. This is an Owens Corning shingle. And so they have a technical service bulletin that specifically talks about the effects of impacts to an asphalt shingle and how even without this bruising, and we'll get to that on the other side here. I'm gonna jump across.